Las Vegas used to be a party that anyone would want to attend. This place once welcomed over 41.7 million visitors annually, each willing to spend hundreds, even thousands of dollars for a few weekend days of living life to the fullest, shopping without looking at prices, and believing that the fun in Vegas is limitless. But take a look back. The party is still there, but the seating rows are gradually emptying. Shopping malls that were once bustling with shoppers have become silent corridors. The casinos that were once the heart of the city are operating at a standstill, with few players, closed tables, turned-off machines, and the excitement gone. Places once considered the city's money-printing machines have quietly become burdens. Costs have skyrocketed, revenue has dwindled, and customer confidence has evaporated. This change isn't just about the numbers. Entertainment costs are skyrocketing. Hidden fees are popping up every place, while the experience is becoming increasingly poor and mechanized. Vegas no longer makes people feel pampered. It's more like they're being squeezed for every last penny. In today's video, we'll step into deserted shopping malls, fading casinos behind the bright lights, and hear from the people of Las Vegas themselves why the city that was once an entertainment paradise has become a place no one wants to visit for fun anymore. Las Vegas is often measured by neon lights and the sound of slot machines. But if you want to know if this city has a future, look at the mall. Because casinos can stage a busy night, but the mall doesn't. Malls only thrive when people still believe they are stable enough to spend money on things that aren't truly necessary. And in 2026, that confidence is receding like the tide going out. Prim Outlet is the clearest example. This place used to be the golden stop between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, ranking among the top 5 largest outlets in the United States, with around 100 brands: Nike, H&M, Coach, Calvin Klein. The food court is always busy, but now that vast central area is almost entirely reduced to a single store barely hanging on, long corridors, empty seats, and old signs hanging limply like evidence of an era that has been unplugged. A ghost town, not because of war, but because consumerism has retreated. What's remarkable is that Prim Outlet didn't collapse due to a scandal. It declined because the lifestyle model was too dependent on the LA-Vegas tourist flow. As COVID dampened long road trips and the rising cost of living made people count every dollar. Fun and shopping stops were the first to disappear. Empty malls mean the surplus in Americans' wallets is evaporating. And if the surplus disappears, Freititrain Anni Sechen. Vegas, a city that lives on surplus, also begins to lack oxygen. But the mall also tells another, darker story. When spaces that once held experiences close, what disappears isn't just the store, it's the social contract. If you work hard, you'll have the right to enjoy. Vegas used to be a reward for the middle class. Prim Outlet was once a stop on that dream's journey. Now it's like a sign reminding us. The reward has been cut from the contract. If a large mall can be almost zero visitors, what do you think that says about the wallets and confidence of Americans in 2026? And if Vegas is only alive, thanks to festival nights, and is empty on weekdays, is that a revival? Or just a city breathing on adrenaline? The next part will go straight to the point that makes people turn away the fastest. Vegas is no longer a reward, it's a bill. Back then, people went to Vegas to escape life. Now, they go to Vegas to confront a harsher version of life with jump scares from bills. Vegas used to be a very fair underground agreement between the city and ordinary people. In return, Vegas makes you feel rewarded. Cheap buffets, free parking, and small perks that make you feel like you're not an outsider. That's why Vegas was once considered a break for the middle class, a reward after regular workdays. But it seems that agreement has been swapped. In 2025, people will feel not just rising prices, but a change at the experiential level. Vegas will no longer be a place to enjoy, but a place where one must calculate. Business Insider once described Las Vegas in the first half of 2025 as sleepy, not exactly collapsing, but slower and emptier, while the cost of experiences was higher. The article also highlights an important paradox. The luxury segment is still doing well, but the mass tourist group is withdrawing. In other words, Vegas still has players, but it's no longer a game for the masses. The key point is that the audience isn't just saying expensive. They used a stronger word: rip-off. The discomfort didn't stem from having to pay, but from the feeling of being preyed upon. This is a very characteristic American reaction. People can accept high prices if they are clear and justified, but they react violently to feeling trapped, deceived, or disrespected. When experiences are reduced to a series of small fees and add-ons, joy is distorted into something that must be bought with stress. And when fun feels like a risk, ordinary people will do the simplest thing: they'll retreat. The demise of the weekend $100 is therefore not just the story of a city becoming expensive. It's a sign that public joy is being pushed into the realm of luxury. As everything becomes premiumized, the middle class faces two choices: either try to play by the new rules or accept defeat. The irony is that Vegas can still get crowded again at times like New Year's Eve. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority previously projected approximately 345,000 visitors for New Year's Eve 2025, with hotel occupancy potentially reaching around 95%. Those numbers show that Vegas still has appeal, at least when it sells a moment. But that very fact reveals another paradox. Vegas may be very good at selling special nights, but can it still sell a reason to come back? One explosive night doesn't automatically save the whole year. It's like a body drinking coffee to stay awake for a few hours, but still sleep deprived for months. Vegas used to be a place where you could win a little to feel life was still pleasant. But now, the more common feeling is that you have to pay up front for the privilege of hoping you'll win. And when trust is eroded, the seasonal crowds may still appear. But the steady return of ordinary people is the true measure. If joy has become an invoice, then are we ultimately paying for the experience, or are we paying to enter a game where the rules have changed without anyone telling us? There's something even more annoying than high prices: the feeling of being charged for every breath. But Vegas isn't the only place that does this, but Vegas does it most sophisticatedly. You see a price in the ad, but by the time you book, check in, park, and get the keys, everything starts to add up a little. And each of those small lines not only takes more money, it takes something more important: trust. What's noteworthy is that these fees don't appear as an option. They appeared like fate: resort fee, parking fee, early check-in, convenience fee. They sound like harmless extras. But when they overlap, the experience becomes a problem. You're not going on vacation anymore. You're checking to see if you're being ambushed with any additional charges. And that's fee fatigue, being tired of feeling worn down. Many people often ask, if Vegas still has winter nights, are people really leaving? There's a way to be colder than the crowds on the Strip: the Air Gateway. In July 2025, Harry Reid Airport served 4,773,905 passengers, a 5.7% decrease compared to July 2024, and was described by local media as the 6th consecutive month of decline. This doesn't mean Vegas is dying, but it shows a truth: the temperature of the flow of people is no longer stable. Event-related crowds can still happen, but the everyday part seems to be cooling down. And when consumer confidence is eroded, people react very similarly. They don't get loudly angry. They just Didn't come back. That's the kind of withdrawal that hurts businesses the most, because it leaves no clear argument to refute. You can't argue with silence. Interestingly, the issue of surcharges is no longer just a personal complaint. It has become a major policy issue at the federal level. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission (FTC) has pushed for regulations requiring businesses to display total prices and disclose mandatory fees transparently to curb drip pricing, a practice where prices are gradually increased, misleading consumers about the true cost. When the government has to step in and ask people to tell the truth about the price, it's not a small matter. That's a sign the market is losing confidence. Vegas used to be a place where you tried your luck. Now it's a place where you test how many fees you can tolerate before you lose your enjoyment. What do you think? If consumers hate feeling tricked the most, is Vegas turning itself into a legal trap? And if an entertainment city loses its credibility, what is left beside the lights? Because when fees become a survival strategy, the next question will no longer be expensive or cheap, but rather, who is designing this game and how well are they optimizing it? When people say Vegas is no fun anymore, they're not talking about a lack of casinos or shows. They spoke of something invisible, a feeling optimized to the point of suffocation. Old Vegas operated like a party. The host wanted you to stay long, eat and drink comfortably, and feel welcome. Vegas is now like an assembly line. Every minute you're there has to be converted into revenue. This is where optimization becomes the fun destroyer. When a system only sees customers as numbers, it will do very measurable things. Cut perks, reduce comps, increase upsells, automate the experience, and push everything into upgrade packages. But what was lost was something that couldn't be measured by a spreadsheet. Comfort, generosity, the feeling of being served as a human being, not a revenue target. These signs are not just feelings. The Nevada Gaming Control Board reported that in September 2025, gaming revenue on the Las Vegas Strip was approximately $687.81 million, a decrease of about 5% compared to the same period last year. That's an important signal. Even the cash cow is starting to run out of steam. When people still come, but spend less, or come less often, it often reflects something very real. They feel it's not worth it. Optimization also creates a paradox. It makes the experience look more modern and sleek, but it also makes customers feel treated more coldly. And as the coldness spread, the city lost its most precious thing, returning visitors. Vegas may still sell a dazzling night, but it can't survive long if people only come once and swear never again. Vegas is proving that you can optimize profits, but you can't optimize trust. So, in your opinion, is optimization ruining the experience in many industries beside Vegas? And have you ever felt like you were no longer a customer, but just a data point in the system? There's an interesting thing that people outside the city often don't realize. Las Vegas isn't just the Strip. The Strip is the stage, and the real life of the city lies behind that stage. And in recent years, more and more locals are saying it straight. Vegas has really moved off the Strip. The reason isn't complicated. The Strip now feels more like a tourist trap than a welcoming place. Everything is designed to take a little more. And a little more. Parking is charged. Early check-in is subject to a fee. A glass of water can also come with a suggested tip. If the Strip were a machine, it would operate on the principle that every step you take must generate revenue. Off-Strip is different. Off-Strip businesses rely on repeat customers, and if you want customers to come back, you can't treat them like a one-time hunt. Locals choose off-Strip because value is still there. Free parking. The food prices are more reasonable. The air is less pressurized. You're not reminded that you're in a game where the odds are always stacked against the player, even before you step into the casino. The important thing is, off-strip, you still feel like a human being, not just a data stream in a system. From an economic perspective, this is a thought-provoking sign. A tourist city, where even its own residents have to avoid the central area, means the center has lost its goodwill-generating function. And goodwill is what makes the cycle repeat. The Strip might still sell out for one big night thanks to the event, but it's hard to maintain a lasting relationship with regular customers. And that's what off-strip is quietly winning at. Not flashy, but sustainable. If real Vegas is leaving the Strip, what will the Strip become? A museum of the golden age, a stage that only lights up on holidays? Or is there a place that is only suitable for a very wealthy group of guests, while the rest of America stands outside looking in, as if watching a story that once belonged to them? There's a light-hearted jab that many locals often say. The Strip is still Vegas. It's just that Vegas isn't for you anymore. It sounds funny, but if you've ever walked around the Strip and felt more tired than happy, you might understand. What do you think? If you've ever been to Vegas, do you feel like the fun has moved somewhere? And if you're a local, do you still go to the Strip? Or do you also choose to live with a different Vegas? There's a truth that many people forget. Vegas doesn't run on neon lights. It's run by people, without tens of thousands of employees behind the bar, at the blackjack tables, in the kitchen, in the laundry room, in housekeeping. Vegas would just be big buildings and recorded music. And when workers begin to burn out, the city loses its most precious thing, its soul. In 2025, signs of decline will not only be seen in the number of visitors or revenue, it's in the small details. The service is colder, there are fewer smiles, and the generosity is gone. Many customers feel treated like a burden, but from the employee's perspective, the feeling is different. They don't hate the customers. They are tired. They work in a system that is increasingly cost-optimized, while customer expectations remain as high as when Vegas was still charming. Labor data reinforces that. A report from the Nevada Department of Employment, Training and Rehabilitation shows that the Las Vegas MSA area had an unemployment rate of approximately 5.6% in August 2025, with nearly 70,000 people unemployed. This isn't a collapse disaster, but it's enough to create an atmosphere of unease. Everyone knows the service industry lives on customer flow, and the customer flow isn't as stable as it used to be. When customer traffic slows down, the first thing businesses usually do is cut hours, reduce shifts, and lay off staff. And when that happens, the entire Vegas experience changes. You might still see a brightly lit bar, but behind it is a bartender having to run twice as many tables. You might still see casinos open 24/7, but behind the scenes, there's a dealer who isn't sure if this month's tips will be enough to keep their life stable. And when employees live in that state, hospitality cannot be the same as before. This is the paradox of modern Vegas. The city tries to optimize for more profit, but that very optimization makes the experience worse, leading to fewer repeat customers. A vortex where the ultimate sufferers are still the frontline workers. Vegas proved you can build a billion-dollar resort, but you can't build hospitality with a spreadsheet. It must be nurtured with stability and respect. So, what do you think? When you travel, do you clearly notice the change in service attitude in recent years? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Las Vegas is not just a destination. It's like a thermometer placed in the middle of the desert to measure how much warmth America still has. Because Vegas thrives on something very specific: the money left over after people pay all their bills. In economics, that's called discretionary spending. In real life, it's simpler. It's the amount of money left for people to be allowed to breathe. And in 2025, that thermometer started to drop. According to LVCVA, in June 2025 alone, the number of visitors to Las Vegas decreased by 11.3% compared to the same period in 2024, which is equivalent to nearly 400,000 fewer people visiting than last year. LVCVA attributes this to prolonged economic uncertainty and weaker consumer confidence. At the same time, Harry Reid Airport reported a 5.7% decrease in passenger traffic in July 2025 compared to July 2024. These are numbers that don't speak about Vegas first. It's about America. When people start cutting back, they cut where they used to find relief. Of course, someone will argue, Vegas didn't collapse. There are still events. There are still crowded winter nights. Business Insider also admits that Vegas isn't exactly collapsing. The high-end segment is still functioning, and the city still has the ability to attract seasonal tourists. And yes, America's best entertainment city certainly still knows how to sell a dazzling moment. But that's the point. A busy night doesn't equate to a healthy economy. It could just be a deep breath before returning to the usual heavy breathing. Vegas at this moment is like an old friend you meet again at a party. They were still laughing loudly, still drinking heavily, and still telling stories as if they never got tired. But when you sit long enough, you see the signs. They have to strain to maintain the image, and you start to wonder if a place that was once a symbol of abundance for fun has to strain like this. What state is the rest of America in? So, in your opinion, what's really going on? When joy becomes something to be measured and calculated, how will society release pressure? And if Vegas is the canary in the coal mine, are we hearing the warning or are we just too busy watching the fireworks? Vegas is still bright, still noisy, still as radiant as an old promise. But perhaps what has changed isn't the lights, but something more intangible. The belief that fun is a normal part of life. When the mall is empty, when the casino struggles to keep up, when locals seek Vegas outside the Strip, and when workers are exhausted trying to maintain a sense of glamour. It's not just the story of an entertainment city. It's like a mirror reflecting how America operates. Everything can be optimized, but not everything can be optimized without losing its soul. Maybe Vegas will recover. Perhaps it will change its model, reduce fees, and return to value. But it could also become a city only for those who don't need to look at bills. And if that happens, the question is no longer what Vegas is losing. The question is, what are we losing? When even ordinary joys become a luxury. Do you think Vegas is declining because of the overall economy? Or because of the way Vegas itself has changed the visitor experience? If even Vegas makes people feel tired and overcharged, where is mass entertainment in America headed? Are you seeing something similar happening in other industries, like tourism, restaurants, aviation, or even healthcare? Leave a comment. I'd like to hear your real experience. The last time you went to Vegas, did it feel different from before? If you find this video helpful, please hit the like button to help the channel reach others who are also trying to understand why everything has become so expensive and tiring. If you have relatives or friends who have loved Vegas, please share this video to discuss it together. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next analysis videos on American socioeconomics, where we don't just look at the numbers, but see what those numbers are doing to real lives. This video is a social analysis and commentary based on press sources and public data, along with observations on consumer, tourism, and labor trends in Las Vegas. The content is not intended to attack specific individuals or organizations, does not make legal accusations, and does not substitute for financial, legal, or investment advice. The cited figures and information may change over time, and the statements in the video are analytical perspectives based on available data.